Every great journey begins with a single step. But what if that step felt too daunting? What if the fear of failure held you back? This is not just a story, it's a reminder of what happens when we dare to take that first step. It all starts here, the moment you decide to begin. Whether you're chasing a dream, building a habit, or facing a fear, the first step is always the hardest. Why? Because it means stepping out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. But the beauty of the first step is that it unlocks momentum. It sets the wheels of progress in motion. The journey will never be easy. Challenges will arise and doubts will whisper in your ear, asking if it's even worth it. But remember this, growth happens in discomfort. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to grow stronger. It's not about avoiding challenges, it's about embracing them as stepping stones. Progress is made up of small wins. It's the extra page you read, the extra mile you run, the extra hour you dedicate. These small victories build momentum, and momentum creates transformation. The secret to success isn't magic, it's consistency, showing up day after day and giving your best, even when it feels like nothing is changing. And then, one day it happens, the breakthrough. All the effort, the struggles, and the sacrifices lead to a moment where you realize you did it. But the true reward isn't the medal, the applause, or the recognition. It's the person you've become along the way, resilient, confident, and unstoppable. Your journey doesn't end here. The steps you take today create ripples that inspire others. Your courage becomes a beacon, showing others what's possible. And so the cycle continues. One step leads to another, and another, until the world around you begins to change. So what are you waiting for? Take that first step, embrace the journey, because within you lies the power to change your story, and maybe even the world. Your journey starts today. Take the first step. In a world filled with challenges where the odds seem stacked against you, what does it take to grow? Let me tell you the story of a seed, a story of resilience, determination, and triumph. Once upon a time, in a desolate land, a single seed found itself on the unforgiving soil. It was dry, cracked, and lifeless. The seed could feel the weight of its reality. No rain, no shade, no promise of survival. But deep within, it carried something extraordinary, a potential for life. The seed didn't know what lay ahead. It only knew one thing: it had to try. The first challenge was the hardest. Beneath the surface, the seed's roots struggled to find water. Above ground, the scorching sun threatened to dry it out. It would have been easier to give up, to let the odds win. But the seed, it kept pushing. Every inch of growth came with a struggle. Winds that bent its stem, predators that tried to tear it apart, in days without a single drop of rain. Yet the seed's response was simple: keep growing. As time passed, the seed began to change. Its roots found tiny pockets of moisture. Its leaves captured every bit of sunlight. The challenges didn't disappear, but the seed became stronger. This small progress brought hope. It wasn't a dramatic transformation, but it was enough to keep going. Every drop of water, every ray of sunlight, they were victories, building a foundation for what was to come. One day the seed realized it was no longer just surviving, it was thriving. Its roots now ran deep, its branches stretched high, and it provided shade and shelter to others. What was once barren land had started to bloom because of one seed's determination to grow. But the seed's journey wasn't just about its own growth. It has transformed its environment, proving that even the smallest beginnings can lead to monumental change. The story of the seed teaches us an important lesson. Growth isn't about having perfect conditions. It's about resilience, persistence, and the courage to keep going despite the challenges. Like the seed, we all carry the potential for greatness. The question is, will you let the challenges define you, or will you rise above them and grow? So plant your seed. Take that first step. because the world needs what only you can grow. Your journey starts today. Grow against all odds. In the heart of the grassland, where life is both beautiful and brutal, one small deer would rise to teach us all a lesson about courage, determination, and the will to survive. In the wild, survival starts the moment you take your first breath. For this young deer, born under the shade of an acacia tree, the world was as dangerous as it was awe-inspiring. Every day was a lesson, and every moment demanded vigilance. From the beginning, she learned that survival meant staying close to the herd. Together, they were stronger. But little did she know, a day would come when she would have to face her greatest test alone. The grassland may appear peaceful, but it's a battleground of instincts and survival. One afternoon, as the herd grazed under the sun, danger crept closer, a pride of lions, patient and cunning, hidden in the tall grass. When the attack came, it was swift and chaotic. The herd scattered in all directions, a blur of dust and pounding hooves. In the chaos, the young deer found herself separated, alone, and vulnerable. This was her moment of truth. Fear gripped her, but something deeper stirred within, the will to survive. The lion was faster, stronger, and more experienced, but the young deer had something the predator didn't anticipate: determination fueled by instinct. She didn't look back. She focused on the path ahead, using every ounce of energy, every bit of knowledge she had gained from watching her elders. Her small size, once a weakness, became her strength as she maneuvered through terrain the lion couldn't easily follow. And then, silence. The lion gave up, and the young deer stood alone, her chest heaving, her legs trembling. She had done the impossible. But survival wasn't just about escaping danger. It was about finding her way back to safety, to the herd that gave her protection and belonging. Alone, she was vulnerable. Together, they were strong. Each step was a test of endurance and courage. She listened for familiar calls, followed distant tracks, and trusted her instincts. And finally, after hours of searching, she heard it, the comforting sound of her herd. She was home, but she was no longer the same. The young deer who had once relied on the herd now carried a strength and wisdom born from her journey. The tale of the brave deer is a reminder to us all. Life will challenge us, throw us into chaos, and force us to face our fears. But within every challenge lies an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Like the deer, we all have the power to survive, adapt, and thrive. It's not about the size of the challenge, it's about the size of your courage. So when life tests you, remember the brave deer. Run with all your heart, face your fears, and find your way back to where you belong. Your journey starts today. Be brave. In a village surrounded by hills and forests, there lived a painter named Alara. Every evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the world settled into twilight, she would stand on her balcony gazing at the moon. Its silver glow captivated her. For years, Alara tried to paint the moon, but each time, something was off. It wasn't the moon itself, but how she tried to capture its perfect light. The shadows never seemed right. The reflection always felt wrong. Every night, Alara painted, striving to capture the moon's beauty on canvas. Her brush danced across the paper, but still the magic eluded her. The moon was just beyond her grasp, always just out of reach. Alara was obsessed with perfection, wanting her painting to match the moon in every way. But despite her dedication, the moon in all its beauty never truly appeared on her canvas. One evening, Alara stood on her balcony, watching the moon rise over the village. Her frustration grew. After years of trying, she still couldn't paint the moon the way she saw it in her heart. And then, as if on cue, a voice whispered through the evening air.
Why do you seek perfection when the imperfection is where the magic lies?
Alara turned in shock, but no one was there. Her heart raced. Could it have been the wind, or had the voice come from somewhere else? She stepped back inside, bewildered by the strange encounter. As Alara stared at the painting she had just finished, Something dawned on her. The moon in the painting was beautiful, but it wasn't the same. It lacked the mystery she saw when she gazed at the real moon. The perfection she had been chasing was not in the moon itself, but in how she saw it. We spend so much time searching for perfection in the world around us, yet sometimes true beauty lies in how we see it. Ilara had missed this truth. That very night, as Ilara sat in front of her easel, exhausted and on the verge of sleep, something extraordinary happened. The moonlight seemed to fill her studio, not just glowing through the window, but filling every corner of the room. It was as if the moon itself had entered her space. Before Ilara stood a figure, radiant and shimmering, clad in robes of silver light. It was the moon, or at least its essence, glowing with a quiet, otherworldly peace.
Ilara, I see your frustration, but you cannot paint me the way you wish. I cannot be captured in one form in one place. You seek perfection, but I am not perfect. I am ever-changing, shifting with the tides. You must learn to paint what you truly see.
The moon's soft voice echoed in Ilara's mind, and something inside her clicked. The moon in all its glory was never still, never static. It was always changing, from full to new, from hidden to revealed. The magic of the moon was in its transformation, its ability to evolve with time.
To capture my essence, you must embrace change. Let go of the need for perfection. Paint me as I am, not as you think I should be.
The next morning, Ilara returned to her canvas. This time, her approach was different. Instead of focusing on getting the moon right, she allowed her brush to move freely. She painted the moon's phases, its changes, the way it illuminated the sky, revealing a new view with each stroke. She embraced the imperfection. She embraced the change. As she painted, the moon's light seemed to fill her studio again, guiding her hand. The strokes flowed easily, as if the moon itself were breathing through her. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. The moon in all its fluid beauty began to take shape on her canvas. Ilara realized that her painting wasn't about capturing the moon in its exact form. It was about capturing the feeling it evoked, the mystery, the change, the imperfection. When the painting was finished, Ilara stepped back and admired her work. It was not the moon she had expected, but it was more beautiful than any version she had painted before. She had captured its essence, its ever-changing beauty. That night, Ilara stood outside and gazed at the moon. She understood now. The perfection she had been seeking didn't lie in a single moment or a still image. It lay in the evolution, the change, and the acceptance of imperfection. Sometimes the true beauty of life isn't in the pursuit of perfection, but in embracing the beauty of transformation. Ilara had learned that the moon's true magic wasn't in its stillness. It was in its constant flow, its ever-changing phases. And now she could see that beauty reflected in her art. Embrace change. Trust the journey. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more inspiring stories.